Chosen one. I want you to think I am wealthy and repeat it again and again. I am wealthy. It is right. It's time to become the wealthy version of you. Chosen one. You are not here by accident. This moment was not random. Heaven aligned this exact second because something in your spirit is ready to shift. You have tried. You have carried the weight. You have been stuck with money, stuck with responsibility, stuck in the role of the one who always holds everything together. And quietly you've wondered if that feeling of being chosen was just an illusion. But hear this, anointed one. You are standing at the edge of a supernatural breakthrough. What is coming is not a reward for suffering. It is a response to alignment. The wealthy version of you is not someone else. It does not require you to become fake, harder or colder. It is the version of you that was delayed, not denied. Scripture says the vision waits for an appointed time, and at the appointed time it will speak. That time is now. Wealth is not chasing you because you begged for it. Wealth is recognizing you because you are finally ready to receive without guilt, fear, or shame. Chosen one, stay with this message. Let it reset your identity. Let it give you permission to step into who you already know you are. If this resonates, comment 777 to mark yourself as one who is chosen. Comment, I am wealthy as a declaration. And make sure you are subscribed because every step forward is bringing you closer to the wealthy version of you. Chosen one. Let me speak to the part of you that stays quiet, the part that pays the bills first and asks questions later, the part that learned how to survive before it ever learned how to receive. You didn't arrive here because you were chasing wealth. You arrived because something in you is tired of carrying what was never meant to be permanent. There was a season where money felt heavy to you, not because you hated it, but because every dollar had a responsibility attached to it. Rent, family, expectations, promises you made when you didn't have much but still said yes anyway. You became reliable. You became the one who figured it out. And slowly, without anyone noticing, you started to believe that being dependable meant delaying yourself. Chosen one, hear this gently, that delay was not punishment. It was preparation. There is a difference between lack and restraint. Lack drains you. Restraint trains you. Heaven did not starve you. Heaven trained your hands so that when overflow comes, it doesn't destroy you. I know what it feels like to want more, but still feel a quiet fear when money actually leaves your hand. Not because you don't trust God, but because you've been the safety net for so long that you became cautious with hope. I've been there, standing in a grocery aisle calculating totals before they hit the register. Saying I'm fine while secretly praying nothing unexpected breaks this month. Loving God deeply, yet wondering why abundance seemed to recognize everyone else first. That tension doesn't mean you're unfaithful. It means you're human and you've been strong longer than most people ever have to be. Chosen one's strength without relief will harden the heart. That's why this message isn't about convincing you that money is coming. It's about loosening the grip you've had to maintain just to stay afloat. Scripture speaks of a time when the vision waits, but when it speaks, it does not lie. That waiting season was not silence. It was alignment happening under the surface. You didn't miss your moment. Your moment was being shaped. Notice how you don't just want money. You want peace when money moves. You want to spend without flinching. You want to give without calculating what it will cost you later. That desire didn't come from greed. It came from exhaustion. You're tired of living in constant management mode where everything must be controlled or something collapses. Chosen one, heaven sees that, and heaven responds to readiness, not desperation. There is a reason wealth has felt just out of reach. Not because you aren't worthy, but because the version of you that chased it would have made it your proof. And proof was never meant to be your foundation. Identity is. When wealth comes before identity, it becomes a burden. When wealth follows identity, it becomes a tool. You've already noticed the shift. The old affirmations don't hit the same. Repeating money comes to me no longer soothes you, because deep down you know money has always been able to come. The real question was whether you were allowed to keep it, enjoy it, and let it stay. That's the permission you've been waiting for. Chosen one. You were never meant to earn rest through suffering. Rest was supposed to come through alignment. There is a quiet recalibration happening inside you right now. You're starting to see that your worth was never tied to how much you could endure. That realization alone is a sign of elevation. In the kingdom, increase doesn't begin with more, it begins with release. Release of guilt. Release of the belief that ease means laziness. Release of the identity that says, if I'm not struggling, I'm not doing enough. I remember the first time money came easily to me after a long, dry season. I didn't celebrate. I panicked. I wondered how long it would last. That reaction taught me something important. My environment had changed faster than my identity. Heaven had shifted the flow, but I was still living like scarcity could return at any moment. Chosen one. This message exists to close that gap. You are learning how to feel safe while receiving, how to let abundance circulate without bracing for impact. That's not something they teach. That's something you grow into. And growth always feels uncomfortable right before it stabilizes. You don't need to work more to deserve more. You've already proven your diligence. What's being asked of you now is surrender, real surrender. Not the kind that waits for disaster, but the kind that trusts timing even when logic demands urgency. There is a difference between patience and postponement. You were postponed by circumstances. You are now being invited into patience by wisdom. Chosen one. The wealthy version of you is calmer than you expect, less rushed, less reactive, more grounded. That version doesn't chase opportunities. Opportunities recognize it, not because of ego, but because alignment creates gravity. Money flows toward stability, toward clarity, toward people who won't abandon themselves the moment pressure rises. This is why your delay had purpose. You learned how to stay when things were thin. That same steadiness is what will allow you to stay when things are abundant. Take a breath here. Let your shoulders drop. You don't need to prove anything in this moment. You don't need to visualize harder or affirm louder. You only need to allow the idea that abundance can arrive without drama, that wealth can come quietly, that joy doesn't need justification. Chosen one, you are not late. You are right on time. And the next step isn't striving, it's consenting. Chosen one, there is something else you need to hear, and it may challenge the story you've been telling yourself. The reason wealth has felt delayed is not because you were unworthy and not because heaven was testing you endlessly. It is because you were still carrying identities that could not go with you into abundance. You learned early how to be useful, how to be needed, how to be the one people relied on when things fell apart. That role kept you safe. It gave you a place. But it also quietly taught you that your value came from how much you could hold, how much you could fix, how much you could sacrifice. And over time, sacrifice became familiar, even comfortable. Chosen one, heaven does not build wealth on sacrifice. Heaven builds wealth on stewardship. There is a moment when being the helper turns into being hidden, when being humble turns into being invisible, when being responsible turns into being restrained. You didn't choose that consciously. It happened slowly through years of saying later to yourself so others could have now. I know that feeling. walking away from opportunities because the timing wasn't right for everyone else, turning down risks because too many people depended on you, watching others leap while you calculated consequences. That wasn't fear, that was loyalty, and heaven honors loyalty deeply, but loyalty has a season. Scripture speaks of seasons where God hides a person not to diminish them, but to mature them, like seed in soil. Hidden does not mean forgotten, buried does not mean dead, and delay does not mean denial. It means development in the dark. Chosen one. The wealthy version of you is not built on urgency, it is built on stability. And stability requires you to let go of identities that thrived in survival mode. You've noticed it already. The old pressure to hustle feels wrong now. The constant grind doesn't excite you, it exhausts you. That's not laziness, that's transition. When a season ends, the methods that once worked begin to irritate your spirit. That irritation is guidance. Heaven is not asking you to do more. Heaven is asking you to stop doing what no longer fits who you're becoming. There was a time when you had to push just to survive, to stay ahead of bills, to keep your head above water. In that season, effort was your lifeline. But now, effort without alignment feels heavy, because you're no longer meant to survive, you're meant to steward. Stewardship requires clarity. It requires rest. It requires trust. And trust cannot grow in constant emergency mode. Chosen one emergency mode kept you alive, but it cannot take you into abundance. I want you to notice something about yourself. You don't envy reckless wealth. You don't admire flashy success. What you desire is quiet security, peaceful overflow, the kind of wealth that doesn't demand performance. That desire reveals your assignment. You were never meant to be loud with money. You were meant to be grounded with it. That's why your journey looks different. I remember when my income finally exceeded my expenses consistently. I thought relief would come instantly. It didn't. Instead, I felt exposed, like the safety of struggle had been removed. Struggle had been my excuse, my explanation, my shield. Without it, I had to confront something deeper. Who am I when I no longer need to fight? Chosen one. That question is holy. Many people sabotage abundance because they don't know who they are without pressure. You are being spared that confusion by this season of inner preparation. Heaven is teaching you how to remain whole when things are easy, how to stay humble without shrinking, how to enjoy without apologizing. This is why you've been asked to slow down internally, even while life still demands responsibility externally. There is an internal reordering happening. Old beliefs about money, effort, and worth are being gently dismantled. Not violently, not suddenly, but deliberately. You may have noticed that money conversations trigger mixed emotions in you. Gratitude and tension, hope and caution. That tension is not resistance, it is recalibration. Your nervous system is learning a new baseline, learning that abundance does not equal danger, that receiving does not mean loss later, that having more does not require becoming someone you don't recognize. Chosen one. Wealth is not meant to cost you your soul. If it ever feels like it might, heaven delays it until your soul is strong enough to stay intact. That delay protected you. There is also something else you need permission to release: the belief that struggle made you spiritual. That lack kept you close to God. That ease would somehow distance you from purpose. Those beliefs are subtle but powerful. They bind good people to unnecessary hardship. Money does not corrupt alignment. Fear does. When money comes from fear, it controls. When money comes from alignment, it circulates. You are being prepared for circulation, not accumulation driven by anxiety. You were never meant to hoard. You were meant to host. Host peace. Host provision. Host generosity without depletion. That requires capacity, and capacity is built through seasons like the one you've walked through, where you learned boundaries, discernment, and patience. Chosen one, look back honestly. You are not who you were 5 years ago. Your discernment is sharper, your priorities are clearer, your tolerance for chaos is lower. That is growth. That is readiness. The wealthy version of you is not impatient. It is anchored. It doesn't rush opportunities because it trusts timing. And that trust is exactly what is being sealed in you now. You don't need to force belief. You don't need to convince yourself that abundance is coming. You only need to stop arguing with the idea that it can arrive gently. Let that sink in, gently. No collapse, no dramatic turning point. Just alignment clicking into place. Resources meeting readiness. Flow matching frequency. Chosen one. This is not about becoming someone new. It is about releasing the version of you that was built for survival, so the version built for stewardship can finally step forward. And that transition, though quiet, is one of the most powerful moments a person ever experiences. Chosen one. There is a subtle fear that has lived beneath the surface for a long time, and it's time to name it without shame. It's the fear that if abundance finally comes, you won't recognize yourself anymore. That somehow ease will soften you too much, or success will separate you from the version of you that learned how to endure. You don't say that fear out loud. You disguise it as responsibility, as caution, as wisdom. But beneath it is a question your spirit has been asking quietly. Who will I be when I no longer need to struggle to feel valuable? That question matters more than money ever could. Chosen. One struggle shaped you, but it was never meant to define you. You learned resilience because you had to, not because it was your destiny. And now heaven is asking you to loosen your grip on the very patterns that once kept you safe. Safety and destiny are not always the same thing. There was a time when being alert, prepared, and slightly tense was necessary, when you had to watch every move because one mistake could cost too much. That constant awareness trained your mind to scan for danger, even in moments of rest. That's why when things start to go well, you sometimes feel uneasy instead of grateful. Peace feels unfamiliar. Quiet feels suspicious. Chosen one. That reaction is not a flaw. It's a sign that your nervous system was trained in survival. And survival mode does not turn off just because circumstances change. It turns off when identity changes. This is why affirmation alone never fully worked for you. Saying I am wealthy without resolving I am safe creates tension. Your spirit wants expansion, but your body remembers contraction. So heaven is healing you gently, layer by layer, instead of flooding you before you're ready to stay open. I've seen this pattern in my own life. There were moments when doors opened faster than my sense of safety could keep up. Opportunities that looked like blessings, but felt overwhelming. I thought something was wrong with me because I didn't immediately feel joy. But what I was actually experiencing was integration. My outer world had shifted, but my inner world was still catching up. Chosen one. Wealth that arrives faster than integration creates anxiety. Wealth that arrives after integration creates peace. That peace is what's being built in you now. You may notice that you're less impressed by noise, less moved by hype, less willing to rush into things just because others say it's time. That's not hesitation. That's discernment maturing. The wealthy version of you doesn't need external validation to act. It listens inwardly first. Heaven trusts you with wealth because you don't idolize it. You respect it. You understand its weight. You've seen what happens when money lands in unprepared hands, how it amplifies wounds instead of healing them. That awareness disqualified you from reckless gain, but it qualified you for sustainable abundance. Chosen one. There is also grief you've been carrying that you didn't know how to name. Grief for the years you spent being strong when you wanted to be supported. Grief for the help you didn't receive because everyone assumed you had it handled. Grief for the version of you that had to grow up too fast. That grief deserves acknowledgement. Money is not meant to compensate for lost tenderness. It cannot replace being seen. And heaven knows that if wealth had come earlier, it might have distracted you from that grief instead of healing it. So the timing was intentional. Now something is changing. You are beginning to allow softness without guilt, rest without justification. You are letting yourself want ease without immediately explaining why you deserve it. That shift is not small. It is foundational. It tells heaven that you are ready to receive without self-punishment. Chosen one abundance does not require you to abandon humility. It requires you to abandon self-denial disguised as humility. True humility is knowing your value without inflating it or diminishing it. And that balance is rare. It's why so few people can hold wealth without being consumed by it. You are being trained for balance. There is also a reason your wealth path feels quieter than others. You are not meant to prove. You are meant to embody. Your life is meant to be a signal, not a spectacle. People will feel something around you they can't explain. Stability, calm, confidence that doesn't announce itself. That kind of presence attracts resources naturally. Money moves toward peace because peace indicates wisdom. Chosen one. You may still have moments where doubt whispers, "What if nothing changes?" That whisper is not prophecy. It is residue, old neural pathways releasing their final grip. You don't need to fight those thoughts. You only need to not obey them. Thoughts pass, identity stays, and your identity is shifting from one who manages scarcity to one who hosts flow. Flow does not mean excess at all times. It means movement without obstruction. It means trust that what leaves will return in appropriate form. It means no longer bracing for collapse when generosity happens. This is why giving has felt complicated for you. Not because you're selfish, but because giving used to mean depletion. Heaven is rewriting that association, teaching you that giving from overflow feels different than giving from obligation. Chosen one. Notice how your heart responds when you imagine having more than enough. Not just enough to pay bills, but enough to breathe, enough to choose, enough to say no without fear. That image doesn't excite you wildly, it calms you. That calm is your compass. You were never chasing luxury, you were chasing relief, and relief is coming. Not as an escape, but as a settling, as a deep exhale after a long season of holding it in, as permission to stop bracing and start receiving. Chosen one. The wealthy version of you is not louder. It is steadier. It does not rush to prove alignment. It trusts alignment to reveal itself through consistency, peace, and quiet increase. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not imagining your calling. You are in the final stages of becoming safe with what you asked for. And that safety, internal, emotional, spiritual, is what allows wealth to finally arrive and stay. Chosen one. There is a sacred threshold you are approaching, and it is not marked by numbers in a bank account. It is marked by a quiet inner permission that says, I no longer need struggle to feel legitimate. That permission is rare, and it is the true gatekeeper of wealth. Most people believe money changes circumstances, but money actually reveals identity. It magnifies what already lives beneath the surface. That is why heaven is meticulous with timing. It does not release increase into confusion. It releases it into clarity. You have been growing clearer. There was a time when your prayers were loud, urgent, filled with requests. You needed answers. You needed relief. And heaven heard every one of them. But as seasons passed, something shifted. Your prayers became simpler, quieter, less about asking and more about listening. That shift was not disappointment, it was maturity. Chosen one. You are no longer begging life to work out. You are learning how to stand still and allow alignment to catch up to you. Stillness is misunderstood. It looks passive from the outside, but internally it requires courage. Because stillness removes distraction. It exposes the truth of what you believe about yourself when nothing is pushing you forward. That's where real faith is refined. I remember a season when nothing dramatic was happening outwardly, yet everything was rearranging inwardly. No sudden miracles, no big breakthroughs, just a slow, steady settling. At first I thought I was being overlooked, but later I realized I was being stabilized. Heaven was building a foundation strong enough to hold what was coming. Chosen one foundations are invisible by design. You've been tempted to measure progress by visible results, by comparisons, by timelines that don't account for internal transformation. But your path was never meant to be rushed. Rushed foundations crack under pressure. Yours is being reinforced. This is also why impatience has felt uncomfortable lately. Not because you don't want more, but because forcing timing now would betray your growth. Something in you refuses to move prematurely. That is wisdom asserting itself. Heaven honors wisdom more than speed. There is another layer of this preparation that deserves your attention: boundaries. Wealth cannot remain where boundaries are weak. And you have been learning, sometimes painfully, how to say no without explaining yourself, how to step back without guilt, how to protect your energy without feeling selfish. That learning did not come easily. It came through exhaustion, through moments where you realized that giving endlessly was not noble if it emptied you completely. Those moments were not failures, they were corrections. Chosen. One abundance requires containment. Without containment, money leaks through obligation, guilt, rescue patterns, and unspoken expectations. Heaven has been teaching you containment quietly, helping you recognize which responsibilities are yours and which ones you inherited without consent. You are allowed to lay those down. This is where many people struggle. They believe being chosen means being available to everyone, but being chosen actually means being entrusted with discernment, with stewardship, with limits. You cannot host overflow if you are constantly drained by unaligned demands. Notice how your tolerance for emotional chaos has decreased, how certain conversations tire you now, how certain dynamics no longer feel sustainable. That is not distance. That is alignment asserting itself. Chosen one. The wealthy version of you is selective, not out of pride, but out of preservation. Preservation is holy when it protects purpose. There is also something important about how you relate to time now. You no longer rush mornings the same way. You value quiet pockets. You understand the cost of constant urgency. This shift is subtle but powerful. Wealth moves comfortably around people who respect time, because time awareness signals readiness. You are no longer living reactively. You are living intentionally, even when circumstances still require effort. That intentionality is what turns effort into investment instead of depletion. Heaven is watching how you move now, not to test you but to confirm readiness. And what it sees is someone who has learned patience without resignation, hope without desperation, desire without obsession. That balance is rare. Chosen one. There may still be moments when old fear surfaces, fear of losing momentum, fear of stagnation, fear of missing out. When that happens, pause and notice the difference between fear and intuition. Fear is loud and urgent. Intuition is calm and firm. The voice guiding you now is calm. Trust it. I want to speak to another hidden emotion you've carried: anger. Not explosive anger, but quiet resentment. Resentment toward systems that rewarded less effort with more return. Toward people who advanced faster while you stayed steady. Toward circumstances that demanded maturity from you too early. That resentment does not make you ungrateful. It makes you honest. And honesty is the gateway to release. You don't need to pretend those feelings never existed. You only need to recognize that they no longer get to lead you. Wealth does not respond well to bitterness. It responds to neutrality, to clarity, to a heart that has processed pain instead of storing it. You've been doing that work, slowly, privately, often without applause. Chosen one. This is why your wealth will feel different. It won't come with chaos attached. It won't demand emotional repayment. It won't require you to become someone you're not. It will meet you where you are, grounded, discerning, present. You are stepping into a phase where money stops feeling like a measure of worth and starts feeling like a resource that flows through purpose. That shift alone dissolves anxiety, because when money is no longer tied to identity, it loses the power to threaten you. Threat-free wealth stays. I want you to imagine, not vividly, not forcefully, but gently, what it would feel like to trust your life again, to trust that you don't need to micromanage every outcome, to believe that alignment is active even when you are resting. That trust is forming now. Chosen one. You are not standing on the edge of chaos. You are standing on the edge of consistency, of rhythms that support you instead of exhaust you, of increase that doesn't ask for sacrifice but stewardship. This is the season where you stop proving and start permitting, and that permission, quiet, internal, unwavering, is what signals heaven that you are ready to hold what is next without losing yourself. Stay here, stay grounded, stay open. You are closer than you think, not because you pushed harder, but because you finally learned how to stand still without fear. Chosen one. There is a moment in every transformation that feels almost anticlimactic. Nothing dramatic happens, no loud announcement, no sudden proof, and yet something irreversible locks into place. That moment is happening to you now. It feels like a quiet knowing, a settling, a sense that you no longer need to rehearse your worth in your mind. You're not trying to convince yourself anymore. You're simply recognizing what has already been true beneath the noise. This is important because wealth does not respond to convincing. It responds to congruence. Congruence is when what you believe, what you expect, and how you move begin to align naturally, not perfectly, not performatively, but honestly. And honesty has a frequency that money understands. For a long time you lived in contradiction. You believed abundance was possible, but you expected difficulty. You spoke faith, but you prepared for disappointment. That contradiction wasn't hypocrisy, it was protection. It kept you from hoping too freely in a world that taught you hope could be expensive. Chosen one, that protective layer has done its job, and now it is being gently removed. You may notice that you are less interested in proving you are right, less eager to explain your plans, less reactive when others don't understand your timing. That is not withdrawal, that is internal authority forming. Authority does not announce itself, it stabilizes itself. When authority forms inside, the need for external confirmation dissolves. I remember the exact moment I stopped chasing reassurance. It wasn't because I finally had enough money. It was because I realized reassurance had never actually made me feel safe. Safety came when I trusted my own alignment more than others' opinions. That shift changed everything. Opportunities became cleaner. Decisions became simpler. Money stopped feeling like a verdict and started feeling like a byproduct. Chosen one, that shift is available to you now because you've done the inner work most people avoid. You've questioned your motives. You've confronted your fears. You've sat with discomfort instead of numbing it. That inner honesty is what makes wealth sustainable, because wealth will amplify whatever it finds, and what it's finding in you now is clarity. There is also something else happening that you might not have named, yet your relationship with desire is changing. Desire no longer feels desperate, it feels grounded. You still want more, but the wanting no longer controls you. You can imagine abundance without gripping it. That neutrality is powerful. Neutral desire creates flow. Gripping desire creates friction. Chosen one, heaven trusts neutral desire. You're also learning that receiving does not require justification. You don't have to explain why this season is yours. You don't have to apologize for ease when it arrives. You don't have to downplay your blessings to make others comfortable. That self-editing habit is dissolving, not because you've become insensitive, but because you've become secure. Security is quiet. It doesn't rush to share. It doesn't rush to hide. It simply exists. Notice how your body responds now when you think about money. Less tightening, less urgency, less mental noise. That is regulation, and regulated people attract regulated outcomes, stable opportunities, sustainable income, relationships with money that don't swing between extremes. Chosen one, chaos and abundance rarely coexist for long. One eventually pushes the other out, and in your life, chaos is losing its influence. There may still be moments when old habits try to resurface, the urge to overthink, to plan excessively, to brace yourself just in case. When that happens, don't shame yourself. Simply notice it and return to the present moment. Presence is your new anchor. Presence is where wealth recognizes you. Money does not arrive because you worried correctly. It arrives because you were available to receive it without panic. You are becoming available. I want to speak to the idea of enough because this is where many people misunderstand wealth. Enough is not a number. It is a nervous system state. You can have little and feel enough. You can have much and never feel it. You are learning how to feel enough now before the numbers change. That is wisdom. When enough is internal, more becomes optional, not necessary. And optional abundance flows more easily because it is not burdened with survival pressure. Chosen one, you are not manifesting money. You are stabilizing yourself so money can stay. This is why your process feels slower than others. Speed without stability leads to loss. Stability creates endurance, and endurance is what builds real wealth, not just financial, but emotional, relational, spiritual. You are becoming someone who can enjoy what arrives. Enjoyment is not frivolous. It is evidence of alignment. People who cannot enjoy what they receive often sabotage it unconsciously. Heaven spares you that cycle by teaching you how to receive joyfully without suspicion. You may also notice that your definition of success is evolving. It's no longer just about accumulation. It's about how your life feels day to day, how you wake up, how you move through responsibilities, how you recover from stress. That shift indicates maturity. Mature wealth seeks harmony, not domination. Chosen one, there is a reason you are still here, still listening, still open. Something in you recognizes truth when it hears it, not because it's dramatic, but because it resonates. Resonance is the body's yes, and your body has been saying yes more often lately. that yes matters. It tells heaven you are no longer resisting ease. You are no longer suspicious of blessing. You are no longer equating struggle with virtue. You are choosing alignment over endurance. That choice changes the trajectory of a life. I want you to notice how different this feels from trying to believe harder. There is no strain here, no pressure, just a gentle recalibration. That is how real transformation happens, quietly, incrementally, irreversibly, chosen. One wealth is not rushing toward you, it is walking calmly, confidently, because it recognizes stability when it sees it. And you are becoming stable, not rigid, not closed, but rooted. Rooted people are not shaken by fluctuation. They understand cycles, they trust timing, they know when to act and when to rest. That rhythm is forming in you now. You are not behind, you are not catching up. You are arriving in yourself, arriving in your authority, arriving in a version of you that does not need to prove readiness, because readiness is already embodied. Stay with this feeling, let it settle, let it inform how you move, how you decide, how you receive. Chosen one. This is what it feels like when alignment becomes permanent, not loud, not dramatic, just real. Chosen one. There comes a point where transformation stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like truth. You're not reminding yourself anymore. You're not rehearsing beliefs. You're simply living from a quieter center. That center is what heaven responds to. For a long time you thought change would feel like adrenaline, like excitement, like a rush of certainty. But what you're experiencing now is different. It's steadier, less emotional, more grounded. That's how you know it's real. Real alignment doesn't shout, it settles. You are beginning to trust yourself in ways you never could before. Not because you suddenly know everything, but because you've survived enough confusion to recognize clarity when it arrives. You've made mistakes. You've carried consequences. You've learned discernment the hard way. That lived experience is what gives your intuition authority now. Chosen. One authority is not dominance. It is self-trust without apology. This is why you don't feel the need to rush decisions anymore. You've learned that timing matters more than speed, that choosing well once is better than choosing fast many times, that patience when guided by intuition is not delay, it is precision. Heaven works through precision. There is also a softness returning to you that you may not have felt in years, a gentleness with yourself, a willingness to rest without guilt, to pause without fear. That softness is not weakness, it is safety returning to your body. And safety is fertile ground for abundance. Money does not like nervous environments. It does not stay where panic lives. It flows toward steadiness, toward people who can hold it without needing it to fix them. You are becoming someone who does not need money to feel whole. And that wholeness is what allows money to arrive without conditions. I want you to notice how your internal dialogue has changed. You no longer speak to yourself with the same harshness. You're less likely to accuse yourself of not doing enough. When challenges arise, you respond instead of react. That shift alone changes outcomes. Reactive people create cycles. Responsive people create pathways. Chosen one pathways are opening around you now, not because you forced them, but because you stopped blocking them with fear. Fear always tries to control timing. Alignment trusts timing. You are learning the difference. There was a season when you equated control with safety. If you could anticipate every outcome, manage every variable, maybe nothing would collapse. That mindset kept you functioning, but it also kept you tense. Now something deeper is teaching you that safety comes from presence, not control. Presence allows adjustment. Control resists it. This is why life feels more fluid now, even if circumstances haven't fully changed yet. Internally, you are less rigid, less braced, more available, and availability is what attracts opportunity. Chosen one. Opportunities are not just events, they are moments when readiness meets timing. You are becoming ready in ways that can't be measured externally. You may still look around and think, nothing looks different. But alignment rarely announces itself through appearances first. It announces itself through ease, through reduced resistance, through moments where things work out without drama. Pay attention to those moments. They are evidence. I remember a season when my life looked the same on the outside, but inside everything had shifted. Decisions felt clearer. Delays didn't trigger panic. Unexpected expenses didn't unravel me. That inner steadiness was the signal. Within months, the outer world followed. Chosen one. Your outer world is listening to your inner posture, and your posture has changed. You are no longer begging life to cooperate. You are cooperating with life. That cooperation removes friction. It allows flow to replace force. There is also a deep relief settling in you, the relief of not having to be on all the time. You don't need to perform strength. You don't need to carry everything alone. You are allowing support in subtle ways, through rest, through boundaries, through saying no without explanation. Support does not always come as people. Sometimes it comes as systems, as rhythms, as opportunities that fit instead of stretch you. Those are forming now. Chosen one. Wealth that fits your life feels different than wealth that disrupts it. You are being prepared for fit, for income streams that align with who you are, not who you pretended to be to survive. You don't need to hustle to prove value. Your value is inherent. You don't need to suffer to earn rest. Rest is part of your design. That truth is settling into you not as an idea, but as a lived reality. You may notice that you're less reactive to scarcity narratives now, less triggered by fear-based messaging, less swayed by urgency tactics. That's because your identity is no longer negotiable. You know who you are becoming, and that knowing creates calm. Calm people make better decisions. Better decisions create stability. Stability attracts resources. It's a simple equation, but it requires inner work most people avoid. You didn't avoid it. You walked through uncertainty without losing your integrity. You stayed aligned when shortcuts tempted you. You honored your values even when it slowed progress. That integrity is not invisible. Heaven sees it. And integrity is one of the strongest magnets for sustainable wealth. Chosen one. This is not the season of proving faith. It is the season of living from it. Faith is no longer something you summon. It's something you embody. And embodied faith is quiet, confident, and patient. You don't need signs every day. You don't need constant reassurance. You trust the process because you trust yourself within it. That trust is everything. As you continue forward, let your decisions come from this grounded place. Let your pace be informed by wisdom, not pressure. Let your expectations be shaped by alignment, not comparison. You are not here to replicate someone else's path. You are here to live yours fully. Chosen one. Abundance recognizes authenticity. It stays where truth lives, and truth is becoming your default. Remain present, remain grounded, remain open. What is aligning now does not need force to arrive. It only needs you to stay as you are rooted, aware, and ready to receive without fear. Chosen one, take a moment and breathe. What you have received here was not information, it was confirmation. Heaven has been speaking to you quietly for a long time, and now the message has met you at the exact moment it was meant to. This is your kairos, not someday, not later, now, anointed one. A supernatural transfer is already in motion. You may not see every detail yet, but alignment has been sealed. What was delayed has found its timing, what was restrained has found its release, and what was prepared in the unseen is ready to manifest in the seen. You are stepping into the wealthy version of you, not driven by fear, not shaped by struggle, but grounded in peace, wisdom, and divine order. Remain faithful to this alignment. Guard your spirit. Move gently. Stay grateful even before the evidence appears, because gratitude is the language of trust. Scripture reminds us that what is appointed will not delay when the time has fully come, and your time has come. Chosen one, go forward with reverence and confidence. Let ease replace effort. Let flow replace force. Let provision meet purpose. If this word settled in your spirit, softly mark this moment by commenting 777. If you feel led, write, I am wealthy as a declaration of alignment. And stay connected, subscribe not out of obligation, but as a witness to what is unfolding. You are blessed, you are aligned, and you are exactly where heaven intended you to be.